Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the virtual assistant training. Grace Joy Demands your trainer, and I'll encourage you to attend every class and take down notes as you take part in this training. So I'll be sharing you on my screen. This is today we are going to start with having an overview or an orientation of the basis of virtual assisting. The first day, um, the first day being today will be an orientation. Yeah, so the second day will start with introducing the tools and working with most of the tools. So the virtual assistant role is divided into three levels based on your level of experience. We have the first level. The first level is the basic level, which requires no skills at all. That is to say, the virtual assistant knows what it means to be a virtual assistant. And okay, the basic skill is the first skill in which the virtual assistant doesn't have any skills and needs to be trained by the employer. Then the second level is the mid level where the virtual assistant needs to have an experience. So in this mid level, although the virtual assistant has an experience, he or she also has to work with the employer to achieve success in a particular role or project. Then the third level, we have the expert level, where the virtual assistant has many years of previous experience. And the important part of this level is that the virtual assistant will have to work independently, will not have to dependent on his or her employer, to be able to pilot the success of a project and execute every project. So, so at the end of this course, you're expected to have adequate knowledge and be eager to work as a virtual assistant, either in the basic level or mid level, depending on how you work to improve your virtual assistant skills. Also, at the end of the course, expect you to have the basic knowledge to source for clients so that you can have as many clients as you want. But I'm not saying you should start with having many clients because I wouldn't want a situation, or you wouldn't want a situation where you would be overwhelmed by projects from your different clients. So, okay, also at the end of the training, you should be able to create your own profile as a virtual assistant. You should be able to you should be able to create your own online profile using some basic tools, some free tools to create your website, such as Wix. Wix is free, but you can also pay for some more advanced tools. But for the basics, you can use Wix, you can use Video to create a profile for yourself so that you can create an opportunity to display who you are or how you want to be contacted, what services you've done, and the services you're willing to offer, which could be different services or it has to be related. For example, personal assistance, being someone's personal assistant, working as a customer support, working in an administrative role, handling emails, handling YouTube channels or social pages and profiles. You can also assist in building the database of your clients. Um, Okay, so you also learn how to use a lot of applications. You also learn how to use a lot of applications like Canva for simple or basic graphic design so that you can be able to support in the social media management. So I'm not saying you have to work as a social media manager if you were not asked to work as a social media manager, but you should have some basic designing skills because if you should know when your client is deviating from a particular role. For example, if your client asks you to manage his social media website, you know that you'll be charging for an additional money if that is not part of your responsibilities in a particular role that you're working on. So we'll learn how to use Fellow for project management. Then we'll learn how to use MailChimp, Hootsuite, so that we can be able to manage the emails. We'll learn how to use some communication applications like Skype, Slack, Zoom, Google Meets, webinar, and so much more. We also have to learn how to improve on some basic video editing skills and slides video. Okay, we also have to learn on how to improve our video editing skills with some tools. We are using Filmora in this training and Viva video. So the next we also learn how to plan and schedule for meetings using Google Calendar and Calendly. So I'll encourage you also to read related business books, related books that talk about business so that you don't have a limited knowledge on how to grow your business or how to invite or influence people to patronize your services so that you can also build your confidence in marketing yourself. So some of these books teach us how to avoid wrong investments, okay, how to think rich and grow rich. You should read books on how to manage situations when you are under pressure. Although we don't want to be overwhelmed with activities, that we find ourselves under pressure when we are managing services for our clients. So we sometimes we ask ourselves the question, who is this course for? Most people don't know what who this course is for, who the virtual assistant role is for. So this course is for those who want to start their own business in an assistive role. Some busy moms or mothers who want a part-time job while they are at home. The VO role can also serve as a part-time job for students also who need freelance roles. Okay. Also, people who enjoy working remotely from the comfort of their home and people who don't want to go through the everyday stress of the traffic from their home to their workplace. can also take up this career in virtual assistance. So, who is a virtual assistant? A virtual assistant is generally a self-employed person who provides professional, administrative, technical, or creative services or assistance to clients remotely from a home office. Okay. Some of the tasks a virtual assistant can perform include scheduling appointments, making travel arrangements, managing email accounts, like I said previously, making phone calls, managing social media accounts, and so much more. So why should a company hire a virtual assistant? Why should one hire the help of a virtual assistant? Okay, a client can decide to hire a virtual assistant to save expenses for office space, to reduce maintenance costs, or reduce additional taxes, because when um an employer hires a virtual assistant, the employer wants most employers won't want to give work benefits, like you have the health work benefits where your health issues are being paid for. So it saves costs for these employers, and it also frees up employers or companies from taking up many activities. So when a client or employer or company has a virtual assistant, the company reduces the 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 bulky activities. So it also improves the services of the company. It improves the values and increases the business values. So the employer has a particular person that takes care of a, a particular project, believing that the virtual assistant is skilled in that particular project that he or she is taking care of. So now, what are the benefits of being a virtual assistant? Are there any benefits? Are there any pros? Are there any cons? So the advantage is that you work from anywhere. You can wear anything you want to wear. You can also set up your own rates on how much you want to earn for a particular project. You can decide your own income. You can have it as a part-time job. If you have another job, you can also have the VA role as a part-time job. You'll be able to do what you love. So it's not just about working in a role, it's also about having passion for what you do. So you'll also be able to do what you love. There will be no restrictions for you. So you don't need any college degree for this role. You just have to be skilled and experienced some in a particular niche. You can save more money on transport systems. So going to work every day, spending money on your transport system as maybe as a student can be a bit um not in your budget. As a student, you might want to buy a lot of things in college or in school. So working as a virtual assistant can save you most of your transport money. What are the disadvantages of being a virtual assistant? So as good as it sounds, as good as the virtual assistant role sounds, it also has it also has lots of disadvantages. Not really much though. You can work alone. For those that don't like working alone, you have to work alone. You have to work alone. You have distractions while working alone from your families, from your friends, unless you have to learn to be. So there will be tough competitions. You have the career is rising now. A lot of people are going into virtual administrative roles, freelancing roles. So you have a lot of competitions. So you just have to be perfect in a particular skill that you do so that you can beat the competitive market. So it's as a newbie in the role, it will be very tough in getting the first clients. So you have to sell up yourself first. Then you have limited benefits. So you will not enjoy the work benefits company give when you are a full-time employer in a company. You won't enjoy such benefits such as health benefits, travel benefits, and lots more. So what do you need? What do you need when you want to work as a virtual assistant? You need a computer with lots of memory storage. You need a computer with lots of memory storage, for example, from 1 terabyte is okay, and the internet connection has to be very fast. And you can just buy a Wi-Fi or use the Wi-Fi connection. You need a headset. Depending on the role that you're working in. If you're working in a customer support role, you have to need a headset for that role. So there are several platforms where you can start your role as a virtual assistant. There are several online freelancing platforms.
Yeah, work, work. Yeah,
Yeah,
work, work. Yeah. Us like that, be able to them. Yeah, that me like man.
there are platforms like Freelancer, Twitter, Upwork, LinkedIn, and so many more platforms. But we'll be talking about that in our classes so that I can teach you how to register and get on these platforms. So also uh you have the choice to get paid in several ways. You can decide to get your payment through PayPal, Payoneer, Remitly, TransferWise, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, or what you need when you're working as a virtual assistant, or even direct transfer. So, okay, what does a virtual assistant do? Let's see. Sorry. Mm, Okay, okay. What we have here. A virtual assistant. There are so many things a virtual assistant can do, from customer support to booking appointments to following up clients, setting up medias, making web research. So a virtual assistant can determine what a client needs. It's what the virtual assistant has to communicate with the client so that he or she can identify the business needs, know exactly what skill is needed in the particular project or service. Then the virtual assistant has to sign an agreement with the employer, agreeing in a particular um service, whether it should be a contract or a part-time service, then agreeing in a particular pay. Then he or she should make sure that he has a signed agreement that could be electronic agreement or in a signed paper, but the agreement should be documented. So what we have there, the virtual assistant has to make sure that his or her procedures are aligned, in alignment. She or he should have a policy that he should stick with in order not to deviate from a particular role. Mm. The virtual assistant has to execute the service in accordance with the agreements that is documented. He or she is not expected to breach an agreement. Okay. And lastly, the virtual assistant is supposed to be making personal research on his or her performance by getting feedback from clients after performing a particular role or service. So, to be very to give you a tip, when you're applying for a virtual assistant role, you have to check your previous experiences so that starting as a newbie it will be aligned with most of the skills you already have. No problem situation there. Okay, let's go on to the history. This virtual assistant role, when did it arise? When did it start? There's no way we can talk about this without going back to the history on when virtual assistant role started. So this started in the 1940s, as early as the 1940s, with a man called Sir Isaac, who invented a shorthand method in secretary services. His first secretarial school only allowed men then. So he opened he invented the typewriting service where he also employed women. So these women occupied office job from then till the 1930s. We had Anastasia in the 1996 when she invented the virtual assistant role. So she started bringing up these job markets by working as a full-time secretary from the home for an international client. She performs internet services such as travel planning, personal assistance, administrative role, and so on. So today the virtual assistant role has become so so big and prominent. Insurance. Before you before you begin your training in the virtual assistant role, the first thing you have to do is to develop your mindset. First of all, you shouldn't be afraid of failing, and you shouldn't have the fear of failing, and you shouldn't have the fear of looking at the other competitors' success. Okay, you should always open room for learning and improving, and also engaging with other virtual assistants you can see on social media platforms such as Slack and the rest of them. So you should have a growth mindset, being open to make research on your own and develop your in order to develop your skills. Also, you have to also have an emotional awareness, keeping your feelings in check. For example, know when to talk about financial issues with your employer, know when it's right to talk about financial issues. Also, you should know when to communicate. You should know the actual tone to use in communicating with a customer. For example, a customer that is asking for a refund. So after the training, you should be able to learn how to use a good communicative tone to talk to a customer, how to arrange your text, your email text to deliver good tone, a good tone message. Yeah, you should also keep your feelings in check. You should know when to react. You should know when to you should know when you're becoming angry. So you should check your mood swings. You can use some exercises like yoga or meditations to on your on your anger management skills. You shouldn't even bring up in anger mode when you're working as a virtual assistant. So the second one is that you should be flexible in your thinking, adjusting your behavior to meet demand and resist distraction. That you should be open-minded. You should be open to new advice, new skills, new training. You shouldn't be rigid in your thinking. You should just have a flexible mind. Then working with your memory, working on your memory. This is very important because you wouldn't like a situation where you forget to tell your employer about a A problematic message you received concerning a particular maybe, for example, concerning a particular payment which didn't go through, or forgetting to schedule a meeting with your clients. And also you should also work on your memory, keeping key information close. You can have a book or a note where you jot down appointments or tasks to do for the next day, that you don't juggle up tasks and get overwhelmed by them. So you should have a reminder. As for self-monitoring, you should have a reminder where you can remind yourself on activities that you've not done. So it's also important to plan and prioritize, to set your goals and to set your goals so that you can meet up with schedules. I've talked about that. We will have to learn how to make use of applications so that you can learn how to organize tasks and get track of things physically and mentally. You also learn when it's right to initiate a task or an action. So these are some basic things you have to learn. So, as a virtual assistant, the first thing you need to do is to choose a particular niche. You have to choose a particular niche where you focus on, because you won't want to be in you won't want to overwhelm yourself with skills from different categories. So when you choose this niche, you have to specialize in a particular industry. If you want to specialize in an industry that is into technology, or a digital industry, a commercial industry that is into advertising, you have to spell it out and note it when you want to begin your career. Maybe as a web, if you're a web developer, you should be looking out for industries that are into technology. If you are good at administrative role or customer support role, you should be looking at for industries such as real estate and industries such as industries that are into brewers and others, and so many more others. So we'll learn each skill depending on the industry that you want to go into. We also get acquainted with the tools needed for this for each role. You will learn how to consult with clients, tools for clients in these various platforms, starting with creating the perfect cover letter, right when you're done job hunting, and registering in some job hunting sites such as Zoho Recruits and so many more. You also have to define your work style, that we talked about this, whether you want to be in supportive role, whether you want to work from morning to afternoon, or you want to work during the night. You have to define your work styles. We'll talk about this in a nutshell. as time goes on. Then you have to understand your client, understand who you're dealing with. When you understand the emotions of your clients, that's the first step. Take you understand when your client is ready to talk about some particular issues. You understand the type of clients you have, and also know how to, by understanding the type of clients you have, you know how to deliver your services. Okay, we talked about this: presenting financial issues, evaluating your performance through feedback. eh, you can use Google Forms to create surveys where you can send to your clients, asking them to evaluate your performance through such feedback, so you can know when you're declining or improving in a particular skill. So that's very important. Managing your time and productivity. This is important too. I've talked about it. You have to set a note where you can record or keep track of what you have to do or what you have to achieve in this particular time frame. Okay. Updating your policies, procedures, and processes. You have to always make research on the new trends that is on in this career as a virtual assistant. You have to make research on the new trends so that you can develop yourself personally and update your policies, your business procedures and processes. You can keep them up to date. Transitioning from employer to business owner. Okay, transitioning from employee to business owner. Okay, being a virtual assistant is also the same thing with being an employee, but not full time, because you're working for you're also working to improve the business success of someone. So you're an employee, let's say. So with these skills, when you are an expert, you transition from being an employee to a business owner. You'll be able to pilot the success of businesses independently without depending on your client's help. That's to say, you will not need your clients to train you in a particular skill. So you become the owner of your business. You start running your business as a virtual assistant. Structuring daily activities goes hand in hand with also scheduling yourself, putting down notes, keeping track of your time using applications like Calendly, Google Calendar, and the rest of the tools, Trello, to manage your projects. You have to work with strategic partners. There's when you start growing in this field, you might be in the position where you need to also employ people that will help you to improve on the services you give to your clients. For example, you'll be able to hire strategic business partners to work with you. You learn how to choose these partners. You won't just have to source for anyone. You have to learn how to choose these strategic partners. So we'll go through all of that in the nutshell. Final agreements is the duty of a virtual assistant to have a financial agreement. You have to have a documented agreement, which we talked about. It should be documented. It shouldn't just be something you agree on over the phone without having a documented in order to have a documented agreement. Okay, we've said this. In order to avoid being confused, it's important for a virtual assistant to specialize in a specific niche or role. So these are the basic tools you need in this role. You need tools for accounting. You need tools for audio editing and recording, calendar scheduling, cloud storage and file sharing, collaboration and communication tools, contract management tools, email marketing tools, forms and survey tools, grammar and writing assistance, graphic design, payment processors, PDF formatting tools, networking, outsourcing. These are skills you need to have also. Password management to remote access, screen recording, and a whole lot of things. So this is an overview of because tomorrow we start with working on the basic tools for email marketing. So I've come to the end of this course today. If you have any questions, can share and ask. Okay, in the absence of questions, we'll have to continue tomorrow so that we can start working with using email marketing tools, basic email marketing tools like MailChimp. So thank you and have a nice day.